going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. I took the last week and a half or so off because I was on spring break, but we are back. We have a lot to cover. This might be one of the longest podcasts that I've ever done, so let's jump right in. I know we got a lot to cover. There's NFL free agency deals just flying off the board. There is March Madness. The Selection Sunday was last night. I'm going to get into that, but first, I do want to talk about Ja Morant.
But first, can you just mention that I'm literally right in the corner of your screen? And
I forgot.
Thanks.
I apologize.
Thanks.
So you got on my left, you can see we got the picture-in-picture gun. Justice helped me in the back. You'll hear him. You'll hear and so you can see him. So he's in a so he's helping me out today. So we got that going again. Control room Mondays with Justin. That's why he called it off camera. That I might continue to use that. We'll see. But yeah, let's jump right into Ja Morant, who of course, while I was on break, he very disturbing, not almost disturbing, but was not a great luck for him when there was a Instagram live that he did. He was out at some club with didn't have a shirt on. Obviously had his chains, and he flashed a gun on the Instagram live. Since then, he has been away from the team. They gave him, at first they suspended him for at least 2 games. Then after that, they said at least another 4 games. Not sure where they stand right now. But he's away from the team right now. I just want to give my thoughts about it. Ja Morant is so talented. He's probably a top 10 player in the league. He's one of the most electrifying players this league's ever seen. Next year, he has a 5-year extension that kicks in that is worth up to $231 million. He cannot screw this up. He's clearly hanging out in a bad crowd. I don't understand what he's doing. And people think, oh yeah, he's from the hood. He's not from the hood. He was not raised like that. I mean, look at his dad. You see his dad, he is waltzing around the Griffey Stadium and the bench the whole time. He was not raised, hood. And even if he was, there's plenty of guys who were from the hood who have come out and stayed out of trouble. Shaquille O'Neal went on a podcast and said, "I'm from the hood too." But Shaq surrounded himself with guys, with good people. There are people who we know.
Wasn't Allen Iverson from the hood?
I think he might have been.
I think he was.
I think he might have been as well.
And I know he got into a lot of trouble before he went to.
He had a thing where he got pulled over. He had some stuff. He had some stuff in the car, but he obviously got himself together. But Shaq said he surrounded himself with guys who did certain things. But when he would hang out with them, on the corners, they would say, "What are you doing here? Leave. You got your whole future here. Stop hanging out with me." He also had a very strict father. His father was his military father. His father was very strict. He had a very strict bringer, which I think definitely helped him. I mean, he's a very smart guy outside of it. He's one of the greatest players of all time. But what I'm saying, you got all these guys who are from the hood and were not great areas and grew up around all these gangsters, and they didn't act like this. And Ja Morant, I don't know exactly where he's from. But he wasn't brought up like that. People don't realize he was not brought up. He was not brought up like around all these shady characters. So I don't know why all of a sudden. Also, he's 23 years old. Like, he's so young. I don't know why all of a sudden he gets his money and he decides, let me hang out with all these characters. And he puts out a statement saying trying to deal with stress better. Deal with stress. Yes, he's not saying he doesn't have a stressful job, but that type of deal of stress, there's another two pieces of the puzzle people are missing. The NBA knows a lot of stuff. The NBA has undercover cops looking into stuff all the time. They have FBI guys looking into stuff. They have connections to the DEA, the Drug
Enforcement Agency.
Thank you, Justin. The Drug Enforcement Agency.
Have you learned nothing from Breaking Bad?
It's been about 3 years since I watched that.
I don't know. You got the Walter White cut. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, I shaved my head for St. Paul. For those wondering why I don't have any hair.
Looks like you're about to say Jesse. Let's cook.
I do.
Yo, Mr. White.
Yeah, and also the NBA has connections to the FBI. They know where you are. They know where you go to sleep at night, who you're hanging out with, where you are at all hours of the night. The NBA monitors that. You saw Carmelo Anthony go on that podcast saying when he got suspended for 15 games back in like 07, he was really, really young, and he walked into David Stern's office and said, why'd you do that? And Stern said, I know who you're with. I know where you go. I know when you go to sleep at night. And Carmelo Anthony was like, oh, damn. So the NBA knows who John Morant is hanging out with, which is why I'm a little confused why Adam Silver has not come out and said anything. Because if this was David Stern, within 48 hours, John Morant would have been in David Stern's office. So I'm not really sure what they haven't released a statement. I'm hoping they do soon.
Maybe there's other parts of it that we don't know. I mean,
I think you're right. I do think you're right.
I mean, if he actually, because there's also the thing to where if this was his gun, he bought it on the team. That means he would have bought it on the team plane. He would have been suspended for 50 games. If that was the case, if they know everything, then they probably know whose gun that was. If it wasn't his, he's not going to get suspended 50 games. No. And if it was his, he would have been suspended by now. Yeah, he's away from the team for an indefinite timetable, but the NBA public relations team would have already made a statement. Adam Silver would have already made a statement. It took Adam Silver 3-4 days to release a statement with the Kyrie issue.
Yeah. That was worse than this fiasco.
That was worse. That's something I kind of want to talk about. I know it's two different things, but we need to kind of talk about punishments here.
Yeah.
What John Morant did was stupid. Let's remember. But that's as far as it goes. It was not harmful. He did not shoot anybody. He flashed a gun for 3 seconds on Instagram. And if he never did it, if he never went live, no one would have known.
That's on John Morant.
Yeah, that's on John Morant. If he never went live, no one would have ever known. But to think that he would get more time suspended for flashing a firearm on Instagram for 2 seconds compared to Kyrie Irving promoting an anti-Semitic documentary and doubling down on it is ridiculous. I think Kyrie Irving should have gone suspended for the season.
I would say at least 20 games.
20 games still, It's like I mean, they gave him that because let's also look at this. Joe Tsai gave him an opportunity to apologize, and he didn't.
Yeah.
Instead, he doubled down. John Morant didn't even need an opportunity to apologize. He just admitted it and just said, and he admitted it and apologized.
Yeah.
So you got to respect on his end. What I think this has to do is I don't know why all these people are saying he's from the hood. I know he's not making. I know he's not saying that. He never said that.
Yeah.
So, but Jesus Christ, I lost my train of thought. It's Monday, guys. Sorry, it's Monday. Dude, I just lost it. I can't believe I lost it.
But going back to continuing on with John Morant, there's also another issue.
Oh yeah, I know what I was about to say. I'm sorry. The thing is that yes, he's young, and I think this whole thing is that he has money. He's a young guy with a lot of money.
Yeah.
He's 23 years old, and he already has more money than probably half of Sacred Heart combined.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Probably.
So usually people at that age, they're still immature, and especially when you're giving a kid that young that much money, it's gonna get to his head.
Of course it is.
And yes, especially in America, money is power.
Yes.
If you have money, you have options, and if you have a lot of money, well, you got a lot of you got a lot of say in a lot of things. So maybe that's where Ja kind of got it from. He's like, okay, my name is Ja Morant. I'm getting a shitload of money. Let me do whatever. Let me do something stupid.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely, the money definitely got to him. There's another piece to this though. If it's his gun, he would have had to brought that gun on the plane. If he brought the gun on the plane, the NBA has very, very, very strict rules about that. I don't think 50 games is a mandate. That's what Gilbert Arenas got. That was kind of a common misconception. But he could get 50 games. It's up to Adam Silver. Adam Silver could give him 10 games. He could give him 50 games. He could give him the next year. He could give him this year and next year if he really wanted to. That's obviously not doesn't really fit the bill. But if he wanted to, technically he could. But if he brought that gun on a plane, by rule, he should get a very lengthy suspension. Also, if it's not his gun, whose gun is it? Why did he have it? Who is he hanging out with that has a gun? I mean, first of all, I don't have a problem with him having a gun. I mean, I'm not gonna even start that conversation. That's a whole nother thing. That does not fit the demographic of my podcast. But a young guy with a lot of money. All right, he has a gun. That's not completely out of the way as long as he's safe with it, I guess. But don't first of all don't flash it on Instagram Live. That's just immature. And also if it is his gun, is it registered? All that. And that's a whole other thing.
Well, I think that's why the Denver police might have looked at it.
Yeah,
I mean, I know I don't think Colorado has an issue. I'm not gonna go deep into gun rights, but I don't think Colorado has an issue with guns.
They're definitely much lighter on them.
They're a bit lighter on them, so they investigate it and they drop the charges. And it took them 2 days.
Yeah, I think at first the NBA was waiting for that because if the Colorado police were to possibly charge him or something, then the NBA would probably at that point would have said probably a big suspension. Now that they dropped the charge pretty quickly, that definitely bodes well for Ja Morant. But still, if he did bring it on the plane, even if it's registered and everything, that should still on paper, based on the rules, be a long suspension.
I know that also. I know it's a different sport, but I just think that Ja Morant's getting a little bit too much flack for this. I think way too much. So, once again, a guy flashes a gun on Instagram for 2 seconds. We're still talking about it. Why is the situation with Joe Mixon, why is the situation with Jamar Chase only talked about for a day?
That's true. Yeah,
it's the same. It's a similar issue.
Those are more serious issues. Yes.
Yes, they're more serious. These are actual crimes that are alleged to be committed. This is not something stupid that's criminal. There's a difference, and I feel like I don't know why a lot of people hate the Grizzlies. If you look on Twitter, I know it's not the most I know it's not the greatest source of information, but it does have a lot of people on it, which is why people go to it. So a lot of people, I remember there's one Twitter post asked, who's the most hated team in the NBA? And many people said the Grizzlies, which I think is a stretch. Dylan Brooks is the only guy.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. People don't like that this team is young, that they are very young. The oldest guy is Steven Adams. He's not even that old. He's probably 33, but he's not this incredibly old guy. But they're very they're very celebratory with every achievement. A win for them in the regular season is a celebration for them. They almost appreciate everything because they're very young. Ja Morant hitting the gritty after he postered like Karl Anthony Towns pissed off people. I don't know why. It was a great poster.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just feel like people don't like this guy. And I feel like they're gonna look at him more just because it's like, okay, I hated you now, but now I have more of a reason to hate you.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks stuff gives him a bad rap. Most of that team is fine. job, but before this recent stretch, he also had the other thing where if he may have assaulted the kid, but that's I'm not sure how true that is. The other thing with he had a running with maybe a security officer in the mall. That's much different thing. I don't think. I still that's also obviously with the gun thing. We all saw the video. It's obviously proven. The other things I don't think are quite proven yet, so I'm not going to go into those. So, and going back to the Joe Mixon thing, yes, those should be talked about more. Joe Mixon, he shot at a bunch of like 13, 12-year-old kids because they were having a Nerf war outside his house. Apparently, he thought they were real guns. I don't buy that. Like, I used to play Nerf wars with my friend. I think every kid,
Everyone knows what a Nerf bullet looks like.
yeah, the Nerf guns, they're yellow and orange. The darts are foam. Guns are real guns are dark. It should not. Also, why a bunch of 12-year-olds have real guns? Like, come on, he's got to use his head. And then Jamar Chase, he's apparently is like his ex-girlfriend or something.
Domestic violence.
Domestic violence. We'll see where that goes. Hopefully everything turns out okay there. I think something. I think because the NBA is in season right now, and right now because the trade deadline's over, the All-Star break is over. All what's going on in the NBA right now is the games. NFL, we got the free agency deals are flying like flies. You got free agency rumors, all these rumors are just flying. The draft rumors flying. I think there's just so much going on in the NFL right now that
absolutely.
I think it's getting lost in the sauce. I'm not saying that's right. It is absolutely wrong. That is wrong. That should not be, but that's just the way it's happening. The NBA, there's no real huge things flying around. It's just, oh, this, you know, these are the games that are going on tonight. And so I think just the Ja thing kind of took center stage for that reason. Meanwhile, the Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase unfortunately kind of got lost in the sauce.
Yeah, I agree. Is this your only NBA segment for today? I'm asking for a reason.
I do have a couple more things to
I wanted to ask if you want to talk about LeBron.
I do. So apparently, this UFC fighter came out and said that him, Tiger Woods, and LeBron have the same drug dealer, basically insinuating that LeBron is on steroids. This is all I'm saying. Any other player would have gotten a message within 20 minutes from the league they were getting drug tested.
Maybe he did. Maybe he just didn't tweet about it.
Because yeah, it doesn't help LeBron's image, so of course he's not going to tweet about it. But because it's LeBron, they're probably going to let it slide.
So, I don't think they let this slide.
No, I don't think they shouldn't, but I just think but they will because he's LeBron.
Well, you know what? We can kind of look at that for other things. Let's look at baseball players. He's Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
Remember, he's Barry Bonds. Everyone likes Barry Bonds.
Well, not the media.
But there are people who actually did like A-Rod. I didn't like him, but there are people who did like him.
Very early in his career. Now I don't think anyone likes him.
Let's hear. People like Lance Armstrong. Lance was a big biker, big champion. All of a sudden, got caught using steroids.
And everyone hates him.
No image is too big or too small in the face of integrity in sports.
Yeah.
That's the thing. When you are okay, maybe the NBA lets this slide. I don't think they do. But if it's found out to be true, LeBron James's entire image is tarnished.
Yeah.
He's not coming back from this. The GOAT conversation will be over. I think
for me it's already over.
Oh, well, yeah, it's already over, but for this, if anyone wants to talk about who is better, LeBron or Michael Jordan, there is one sentence that just needs to be said. Michael Jordan never used steroids. Yeah. If that is true, I don't think it is. I don't know if it is, but I know for a fact that Adam Silver's walking into LeBron's house, piss bag in one hand, syringe in the other. All right, piss test, blood test, go. He's like, that's what's gonna happen. But it's very interesting. It's getting a little spicy.
Yeah. By the way, LeBron is hurt. They said he was back on March 2nd, which is at this point like a week and a half ago. They said he would be reevaluated in 3 weeks from that date. So probably another week and a half until he's reevaluated for apparently he's got an ankle injury or something. I don't know. LeBron's sitting out games. Well, what else is new? Before we move on to some real cool stuff, let's talk about the scores from last night in the NBA. Nets over the Nuggets, 122 to 120. Jokic 35 points, 20 rebounds, 11 assists. That's his first loss. Justin can't believe it. His first loss, I believe. Lance had a triple double since like late last season.
Yep.
Nick Claxton adds 20 points in that one. That's playing better. They were struggling mightily after they traded away Durant and Kyrie, but have won, I think, 5 of 6 or 6 of 7, so they're playing a little better now. Cavs over the Hornets, 114 to 108. Darius Garland, 28 points in that one. Sixers over the Wizards, 112 to 93. Embiid, 34 points and 8 rebounds, 4 blocks. Pelicans over the Blazers, 127 to 110. Trey Murphy had 41 points and 9 threes in that game. Big game for Trey Murphy. By the way, Zion, he's still at least a couple of weeks away from being reevaluated. They're hoping to get this point getting back just before the postseason. So looking like if they get him back, it'll be probably at the very end of the year. Thunder over the Spurs, 102 to 90. Zach Collins had 23 points, 11 rebounds, and a loss. And then Knicks over the Lakers, 112-108. Julius Randle, 33 points, 8 rebounds. Knicks past the Lakers, who were down LeBron. Knicks also did not have Jalen Brunson in that game. I'm hearing Brunson probably out tomorrow against Portland, and they don't play again until Saturday. So maybe give him as much rest as possible because they are going to need him for the home stretch if they want to possibly. It's a team that probably can win a playoff series. They don't hold Brunson now. They will not be able to. That's the NBA standings. The Bucks have taken over first in the East. Boston's got second. They've fallen a game and a half behind Milwaukee.
Because they choked 3 straight games.
They're slumping a little bit right now. Philly's in third. They're actually only 3 games out of first place, Philly. Cleveland is in fourth. Yeah, Brooklyn in fifth. Knicks in sixth. That's like 2 less games of the Knicks. The only reason why Nets are have Knicks right now. Got the Miami Heat, Justin's favorite team, in that first play-in spot. Second play-in spot is Atlanta, who's a game and a half behind Miami. 2 games behind them is Toronto, and a half game behind them is the Bulls. Indiana's a half game out of the play-ins, as is the Washington Wizards. Magic are 2.5 games out of the play-ins, and then Charlotte and the Pistons round out the Eastern Conference. Pistons have lost 11 in a row. Yikes. So the Western Conference, Denver still leads the Western Conference. 5-game lead over Sacramento and Memphis, who are tied for second and third right now. Phoenix is in fourth. 2 games behind them is the Clippers, who are in fifth. Golden State moves up to sixth. They're a half game out of fifth. A game behind the Warriors is Minnesota, who's got the first play-in spot. A game behind them is the Dallas Mavericks, who are struggling right now. Dropped out to the 8th seed. Kyrie and Luka together are only like 3 and 6, something like that. And I think Kyrie's nicked up right now. Kyrie and Luka are both nicked up right now.
That means Kyrie's gonna ask for a trade.
Yeah,
for Luka. He's gonna
might.
try to trade Luka away.
Knowing him, he would. And the Utah Jazz and Oklahoma City Thunder right now tied for the last 2 play-in spots. Oh wow, there was a 4-way tie for the last 2 play-in spots between the Utah Jazz, Oklahoma City Thunder, the Los Angeles Lakers, and New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans are really falling off. I think they were top 3 in the West at one point. That's crazy.
They were at the beginning. It's almost like last year when we were talking about the Wizards. They were like 5-0, and they were like first in the East. I'm like, oh my god, this is it. This is it. And then they just fell apart.
Portland's 2 games out of the play-ins, and then the Spurs and the Rockets are already eliminated from playoff contention. And as are the Detroit Pistons. Hornets, I'm sure, will be following suit very shortly.
Probably next game.
Probably. I believe if Milwaukee wins and Miami loses tonight, I think Milwaukee clinches the spot. I believe.
Well, I guess Milwaukee's clinching that spot.
Yeah, Justin's very pessimistic about his Miami Heat. If you guys haven't
I'm not pessimistic. I'm just depressed. There's a difference.
He's a little bit depressed.
Pessimistic is believing believing that the glass is half empty. Me, the glass is empty.
It's fully empty?
Yeah, it's completely empty.
Okay, they should get the 6th
No.
seed because Brooklyn's going to lose enough games.
No. Wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
We'll see what happens.
You're just fundamentally wrong. You're fundamentally.
We'll see.
They
We'll
have.
See what happens.
It's Jimmy Butler, Bam, Tyler Hero, Gabe Vincent once every like 4 games, and then XFL players. That's what the Miami Heat is.
Okay.
Mexters, the professional deli slicer? No.
You said to me last night off camera. That's right.
The professional Jersey Mike's deli slicer? No, I'd rather not. I'd rather not deal with Max Strus.
All right, so I'm actually going to talk about some baseball now and save the college basketball and football for last, because save the best for last. Arizona Diamondbacks extend Corbin Carroll, one of their top prospects. He has an 8-year extension with $111 million, still only 22 years old. Last year, played 32 games after he got called up late in the season, and played pretty well. He hit like 260. And he had a huge year in the minors, so he'll obviously be on the big league club this year. I'm not going to give a guy $110 million not to be in the minors, so they locked him up. And Nationals extend Kyber Ruiz, 8 years, $50 million. He's a young catcher, was the centerpiece of the trade that sent Max Scherzer and Trey Turner to the Dodgers about 2 years ago. And he had an okay year last year, hit like 250, I think had like 8 home runs. I do like his game. I think he's very talented. He didn't have quite the year I thought he was going to have last year. He also, there's not a lot of talent around him in that lineup. I don't love giving a catcher an 8-year deal, but he's still only, I believe, 23 years old, so he'll still be about 31 when he hits the open market. So it's a pretty good deal. And also, the salary wise, he's making I'm terrible at math. That's a little over $6 million a year, so that's a very nice deal for the Washington Nationals. Marlins pick up Yuli Gurriel and Jose Iglesias, so minor league deals. I think those are pretty good signs. Yuli Gurriel is not what he once was. Did not have a great year last year. Only hit like 240 for Houston. He's never been a great defender over there at first, but he's got 2 World Series rings. One of them, team was cheating, but it does technically still count. He's got 2 World Series rings, 2 World Series rings. He's been to the LCS 6 years in a row. He's been to 3 or 4 World Series. He's won 2, and he also hit 347 in the postseason last year. So he's also been very good in the postseason. And then you had Jose Iglesias, who's a real solid hitter. Not a lot of power, but did drive in 47 runs last year. Really good defender, very good shortstop, can play second and third. Miami adds a couple of veteran bats to their lineup. Rockies had Brett Hand, 1 year, $2 million. It's a pretty good signing. He had a nice year for the Phillies last year. And to the bullpen, and Rockies needs as much pitching as they can get because the pitching staff is horrible and the ball travels further in Colorado. They're in the most hitter-friendly park in the world. Texas Rangers add Will Smith, 1 year, $1.5 million. Not the Will Smith on the Dodgers, and not the Will Smith who is crying because Chris Rock made fun of him. And
does he have a good slap hit?
He's a relief pitcher, so he's not going to be hitting. But it is not the actor Will Smith, if you can even call him an actor anymore. And it is not the guy, the catcher on the Dodgers either. It's a reliever. Solid pickup for Texas. They're going to need as much bullpen help as they got because that rotation is not going to stay healthy. I don't even know if anybody in that rotation throws 130 innings, to be honest. And Mike Moustakas gets picked up with Texas. I think by Texas. I can double check that, Justin, if you want to look up where Mike Moustakas went.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was just looking at a very, very stupid thing the Texans just did.
Yeah, I saw it.
I saw it. I'm very upset. So wait, so who am I looking up for you right now?
Mike Moustakas, I believe he signed with Texas, but just confirm that minor league deal. He's kind of washed, but brings good veteran leadership, I guess. The Kansas City Royals pick up Jackie Bauer Jr. minor league deal. He's one of the worst hitters in the league, but he's a great outfielder with good speed. He won a World Series in 2018 with Boston. Got some playoff experience. Kansas City adds him. Padres signed Ruben Odor to a minor league deal.
Looks like he's on the Rockies, Mike Moustakas.
Oh, Colorado. So Rockies add Mike Moustakas. He can play third. Still a pretty good third baseman. Can also play first as well as second. Not a great hitter anymore. He's much older, but he does also have a lot of playoff experience. He was on the Royals and won the World Series in 2015, so he brings some veteran leadership to the Colorado Rockies. Ruben Odor goes to San Diego, minor league deal. He's a guy who, not a very good hitter. He's got a little bit of power, can give you 15, 20 homer, but it's only going to hit about 200. And there is not a pitch there's not a pitch that he will not swing at, but he's also a very good defensive second baseman. Yes, he did punch Jose Bautista in the face, but that wasn't his teammate. I've heard he's a good veteran leader. Also, we know he's willing to stick up for his teammates. I mean, Jose Bautista sweated in dirty in the rematch. That was the first time since Bautista's backflip and punched him in the face. And he's also a very good defender at second, and he's got some playoff experience. Not a ton. I mean, the one postseason memory you have him is Jose Bautista hitting a home run off his team to send them home, but still. Has some experience. A couple guys retired. Lorenzo Cain retired. He was a big part of the World Series team. They then went to the Brewers from our All-Star outfield. He retired, as does Mitch Moreland from our first base and DH. Was on Texas for a while, had some nice years there. Was in Boston for a couple years. I think mine was on the World Series team in 2018. And then he had a short stint in San Diego. He just retired as well. Jose Quintana, Mets starter, who's probably gonna be their fifth starter, but he has got that rib fracture, which is why he withdrew from the World Baseball Classic. He's shut down for 3 months, so mid-June we'll probably start throwing again. So maybe we'll get him back around the All-Star break. I mean, the Mets just gave him a $25 million contract, but thankfully they do have good depth there with Dave Pearson and Tyler McGill. Probably Pearson gets the nod over McGill because now they can get a lefty in there, but we'll see. So that's why it's important to have depth. So it's what it is. I mean, guys are gonna get hurt in spring training. It's gonna happen. That's why I don't like the World Baseball Classic. I wish they would do it after the season, like in between, like the season ending and free agency. He can get hurt in the World Baseball Classic, but like, I mean, Seth Lugo was emerging as a really good starting pitcher, and then he got overused by, I think, Puerto Rico in the last World Baseball Classic, and he was never the same. He became a good reliever, but he was never the same, again, to be honest, so. We'll see what happens. By the way, speaking of injuries, the New York Yankees have a lot of injuries, and we are not even at the regular season. Carlos Rodon, they just give $162 million, is hurt. He's got a forearm strain. Will not be ready for opening day. They're down 2 bullpen arms already. Lou Trevino and Tommy Kahnle are on the IL. Harrison Bader was going to be their starting center fielder. He's out 6 weeks with an oblique strain. So Yankees injured are dropping like flies. I don't know what's going on, who their team trainer is, but he's might want to step it up. And also Frankie Montas is out to at least the All-Star break. At first, they said he was done for the year. They said he couldn't come back right after the All-Star break, but he's down at least half the year. So the Yankees are down 2 starters already, and 1 for at least half the year. So Yankees, a lot of injuries already. By the way, Frankie Mullins just came out and said that he was not even healthy when they traded for him, which is probably why he had an ERA over 6 in the regular season last year. He said he was playing, he wanted to play through it because he just got traded to show his new team what he's got, and it didn't work out. My thing is, if you're Brian Cashman, if he wasn't healthy, why'd you trade for him? Why'd you trade 4 players for him? I don't know. I don't understand that. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. And the World Baseball Classic is underway. We got here standings in Pool A. They're playing in Taichung. Don't ask me where that is. You got Cuba at 2-2, Italy at 2-2. Boy, Matt Harvey pitched for Italy, actually pitching pretty well. And then you got Netherlands at 2-2, Panama at 2-2, and Chinese Taipei. I don't even know what that is. They're also at 2-2. Pool B is being played in Tokyo. We got Japan at 4-0. Otani is having a field day over there. Australia is 3-1. Korea is 2-2. The Czech Republic are 1-3, and China is 0-4. Pool C, which is Phoenix, got Canada at 1-0. Colombia at 1-0. Mexico 1-1. USA at 1-1. Mexico just thrashed the USA last night. I don't know what the heck happened. And Great Britain at 0-2. Did you guys see Great Britain's jerseys? It looks like they have like the Arial 12 font and they look so dumb.
I thought they were Guardians jerseys.
they honestly look kind of like the Guardians jerseys. They're terrible.
It didn't. It was just kind of boring to look at. I mean, I get not every jersey is supposed to be eye candy, but what is that uniform?
It's terrible. It's the World Baseball Classic. Come on, like always Great Britain guys. This is the only time like people actually watch their games, and you do that. Come on. In Pool D, they are playing in Miami. You got Venezuela is at 2-0. They got a real good squad. Venezuela. Israel is 1-0. Puerto Rico is 1-1. They just lost to Venezuela, but they have a good squad as well. The DR is 0-1. They did lose Vlad Guerrero Jr. He opted out. He's got an injury, but they still have a stacked squad. And Nicaragua is 0-2. That's what a World Baseball Classic is. By the way, for the American team, they lost to Mexico. Now they have to beat Canada or else they'll be eliminated somehow with that stacked lineup. The pitching is not good because the top 2 starters withdrew from the tournament, including Nestor Cortez, another Yankee starting pitcher who's nicked up right now. and somebody else that I forgot. The guy who started the first game was Adam Wainwright, who's like 41 years old. Their pitching is not that good. By the way, Trevor Bauer, he signed a 1-year deal with Japan. Trevor Bauer will be playing in Japan. So he got a contract, but not in the United States. This is what happens when you say stupid stuff and you do horrible things. You go from being a Cy Young winner to playing overseas. That's just how it works. Now I was gonna talk some hockey, talk about the recap of trade deadline, but we got too much to cover, so I'm gonna save that for tomorrow. Let's talk about March Madness.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
So the field has been determined. I'm not gonna do picks yet. I will do a bracket special. I'm probably gonna do that on Wednesday. I'll confirm tomorrow, but look forward to Wednesday, me doing that. So, in the South Division...
Yeah, you might be waiting for yours, but I got mine.
Did you already do your bracket?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I did it.
So, for the South region, we got number 1 Alabama. They're going to play the winner of Texas A&M CC. I forgot what they meant. And then Southeastern is Missouri State. You have 8 Maryland against number 9 West Virginia. Number 4 Virginia against number 13 Furman. Number 5 San Diego State against number 13 Charleston. You have number 3 Baylor against number 14 UC Santa Barbara. Number 6 Creighton against number 11 NC State. Number 7 Missouri against number 10 Utah State. And number 2 Arizona against number 15 Princeton. In the Midwest, you have number 1 Houston against number 16 Northern Kentucky. You have number 8 Iowa against number 9 Auburn. Number 4 Indiana against number 13 Kent State. Number 5 Miami against number 12 Drake. Number 3 Xavier against number 14 Kennesaw State. Number 4 Iowa State. Number 6 Iowa State against number 11. That will be the winner of the first 4 games between Mississippi State and Pitt. Number 7 Texas A&M against number 10 Penn State. Penn State had a magical run in the Big Ten tournament. Almost beat Purdue. They only lost by like 4 points in that game. And number 2 Texas against number 15 Colgate. On to the West. Number 1 is Kansas and number 16 Howard. Number 8 Arkansas against number 9 Illinois. Number 4 UConn against number 13 Iona. Number 5 St. Mary's against number 12 VCU. Number 3 Gonzaga against number 14 Grand Canyon. Number 4 TCU. Number 6 TCU. They will play the winner of the first 4 game between the two 11 seeds, Arizona State and Nevada. Number 7 Northwestern against number 10 Boise State. And number 2 UCLA against number 15 UNC Asheville. In the East, Purdue is the 1 seed. They will play the winner of the 16 seed first 4 game between Texas Southern and Fairleigh Dickinson University. FDU came out of the NEC, where Sacred Heart plays. That's obviously Purdue will probably be our team by a lot. Number 8 Memphis against number 9 Florida Atlantic. Number 4 Tennessee against number 13 Louisiana. Number 5 Duke against number 12 Oral Roberts. Remember them a couple years ago? Number 3...
I don't think they do, Jake. You weren't doing this podcast when we did with Oral Roberts.
I will... You and I were doing a show.
Yeah.
I was not doing this yet, but I'm not sure if you guys know the story. 2 years ago, Oral Roberts was the 15 seed that went to the Sweet 16. Justin, remember, Justin and I lived together. This is our first semester living together. He told me, I am picking Oral Roberts to beat number 2 Ohio State. I told you, you're crazy. and he said, watch. They play on a weekend. That weekend, he went home to his house in Jersey to visit his family. I happened to fall asleep during the game. I wake up, I check my phone, and I learned that Oral Roberts won. I texted him like, dude, how did you predict that? So that's
I should have bet on it. I was pissed. I
You
should have bet
would have
on
won
it.
some nice money from that.
I would have won I would have gotten a bag, as they say.
You would have gotten a nice bag from that. And then we got number 3, Kansas State against number 14, Montana State. Number 6, Kentucky against number 11, Providence. Number 7, Michigan State against number 10, USC. And number 2, Marquette against number 15, Vermont. So that is what the tournament is looking like. I'm going to do my bracket special Wednesday because we got some first 4 games
Yeah,
Tuesday.
but like, there's my bracket. But like,
That's
what about my
right.
bracket?
My
Like, what about
next
mine?
thing, I was about to say, Justin already filled out his bracket, so we're gonna have Justin do his bracket.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Justin,
go
fire
kind of
away.
quick because there's a lot of games. But you know, some of them are pretty obvious. Like, obviously, I'm gonna have. All right. Spoiler alert: I have Kansas, Alabama, Purdue, and Kansas. In Houston, excuse me, all advancing to the first round. I mean, to the second round. It's just a no-brainer. Let's talk about some upsets here. Well, I have 8 and 9 seed is actually, I always thought was one of like the tightest tournaments to where either team could win and it wouldn't matter. I have West Virginia beating Maryland.
Okay.
Obviously, I have SDSU winning. I have Virginia winning. I have North Carolina State being Creighton. Why? Watch me. You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna go all the way to the Final Four. Simply put, I like UCLA and I like Houston. I think they're going in the Final Four. I have Arizona getting to the Final Four. The guy who I have beating, making it all the way out of the East, is Florida Atlantic University.
Oh, a Cinderella.
Yes. Because you want to know why?
Why is that?
I'm not like the hugest. Obviously, stats aren't everything, but stats are something. If you look at some of these stats, they're better than teams like Purdue and Marquette. They're not better than Arizona, but only by a little bit. So I have Arizona beating them. I actually have Florida Atlantic and UCLA in the finals.
Florida Atlantic going to the national championship.
Yep.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen.
And Florida Atlantic wins. I have Florida Atlantic winning the whole thing. This is a team that no one is going to expect to win. Trust me, they're either going to run some kind of gimmick offense that you've never seen in your life like Bellarmine did, or they're going to run some kind of impeccable defense. Like they're going to all unleash their inner Dennis Rodman and play some of the greatest defense you've ever seen. This team is taking it all the way. Watch me.
Well, everyone, you heard it here first.
There's a one.
Florida Atlantic is Justin's national champion.
The chance of getting a perfect bracket is 1 in 9 quintillion. Too bad I am the 1 in 9 quintillion.
Wow. I'm actually trying to look for what seed Houston is and what region they're in. I'm having trouble.
They're the first. The first first seed. The first seeds are Purdue, Alabama, Kansas, and Houston.
Okay. So, all right. So you heard it here first. Justin has Florida Atlantic not going to the national championship, winning the whole damn thing. So, my bracket will be unveiled on Wednesday, but so far, I don't know if I can top that. I don't know.
The reason why I have Florida Atlantic coming out of the East is because after yesterday's game, do you really trust Purdue?
I can't say I trust them to have a super deep run. I could see them being upset maybe in the second round of a Sweet 16, possibly.
Yes, by Florida Atlantic.
That's
who they're being
possible.
upset by.
They are very good. I think they could have a nice run. I think that is possible.
I was thinking about different kind of Cinderella teams you could have. I was thinking Kent State maybe because the Maction. I was even thinking Oral Roberts at one point, but I can't predict them again.
Oral Roberts is good. They drew Duke. That's a tough draw in the first round for them. But if they are playing a little easier, a little more vulnerable opponent, because Duke's coming in hot and they're also Duke.
Yeah, I also had Kentucky being a second round exit.
I think that's fair.
I don't think Kentucky's that good this year.
Not really. But yeah, my bracket will be unveiled on Wednesday. And before I move on to the NFL, just want to say congratulations to Jim Boeheim. He announced his retirement. He was the head coach of Syracuse for 47 seasons. That is a major accomplishment, and he played at Syracuse too, so he was there like 55 or 57 years in total. He was the head coach at Syracuse for 47 years. He won a national he had a national championship with Carmelo. Was in the Final Four a few times, and also this is the right move. It was definitely time for him to go. The Syracuse program, it's time for a new voice. But what a career by Hall of Fame coach Jim Boeheim. Now, let's talk about NFL free agency. I have not done this podcast in like a week and a half. So much stuff is going on. If you saw me checking my phone during the podcast, because there's this stuff flying off my screen. But we had these are some older ones. The Seahawks re-signed Geno Smith 3 years, $105 million. And then you had Daniel Jones got his money. I did my little quarterback special thing over break. So you heard those. Darren Payne, the Commanders defensive tackle, after getting a franchise tag, he agreed to an extension with the Commanders, 4 years for $90 million. So he gets a large bag. Obviously, you got Lamar Jackson, got the non-exclusive tag, no movement on that front. Other guys to get tagged: Evan Engram, the tight end for Jacksonville, as well as Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, and Tony Pollard. Where you and this is on the Chicago Bears trade the number 1 overall pick. They trade it to Carolina. In return, they get pick number 9, pick number 61 in the second round, a first rounder in 2024, a second round in 2025, and they get a very good wide receiver in DJ Moore. So great move by the Bears and they still have a top 10 pick, and they'll have 2 months next year. So really good move by Bears GM Ryan Poles. But the Bears were going off in free agency. They signed they had TJ Edwards to a linebacking core, 3 years, $19.5 million. They also just added Tremaine Edmonds, 4 years, $72 million, who's an excellent player. The Bears add him. So they completely revamped their linebacking core. They're about to sign a solid starting offensive guard in Nate Davis, 3 years for $30 million. So Bears are making a bunch of moves. You got Juwan Taylor goes to the Chiefs, 4 years and $80 million. He's a really good right tackle. Andrew Wiley, who they had last year, he goes to the Commanders, 3 years for $24 million. You had the Falcons extend Chris Lynch. I'm not afraid, but they give him an extension, 5 years for $105, one of the league's best guards. Falcons have been very busy as well. They make a trade for Jonnu Smith, a veteran tight end. They got him for the Patriots for a 7th round pick. Jonnu Smith had the best years of his career in Tennessee. Where Arthur Smith was the offensive coordinator. He's the head coach in Atlanta now, so he's a good fit over there. Having him and healthy Kyle Pitts will be a nice duo. Dolphins get Jalen Ramsey, who's I don't think is the league's best corner, like some people say he is. He's a little bit older. Not older, but he's not the guy he once was, but it's still a top 10 corner in the game. They had him for a 3rd round pick in Hunter Long, who they drafted last year, a tight end. He was a backup tight end. So they fleeced the Rams, who were obviously in a tough spot, so they had to trade him because of the finances. But what a steal for the Miami Dolphins. Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey. Wow. You got Jimmy Garoppolo goes to the Raiders, 3 years, $67.5 million. So the Raiders, he reunites with Josh McDaniels, their head coach. Why he's still the head coach, I don't know, but he was the Patriots off the corner at one point where Jimmy G, kind of flashed that he's a potential starting quarterback. You got the Bills adding Connor McGovern, 3 years, $23 million. He's probably playing a lot of left guard for them. He's been a center the last few years for the Jets, but he can also play guard. He played left guard in Denver. So Bills add him. Mike White goes to the Dolphins, 2 years, $60 million. So the Dolphins and to back up to. I think this is a nice move. Obviously he's not going to start. I don't think he's a starting caliber quarterback, but Tua's still injury prone. They needed a guy like that. You got Javon Hargrave goes to the 49ers, 4 years, $84 million. $40 million guarantee. Gets a huge contract. That 49ers defense is unfair. Look at that D-line. You got Nick Bosa. Now you have Hargrave, Eric Armstead, Fred Warner at linebacker, Trey Greenlaw, Hufanga at safety. that Niners defense is, if there was any doubt they were not the best defense in the league, those questions are gone. That is absolutely the best defense in all of football. I don't even know if it's relatively close. You got Cam Sutton goes to the Lions, 3 years, $33 million, about $22.5 million guaranteed. Nice move for the Lions. He has a solid year, Cam Sutton. Lions need as much help on the defense as possible, and they get a nice corner. They pick up a nice corner there. The Patriots re-sign Jonathan Jones, 2 years, up to $20 million. Nice move. Nice, very good, versatile defensive back. 49ers re-sign Tayshaun Gibson, 1 year, $6 million. Another piece of my defense. Broncos had Mike McGlinchey, 5 years, $87.5 million. He gets $50 million guaranteed. He's a very good right tackle. I think they overpaid him a little bit, but Denver needs a lot of help on that offensive line. And they had a big piece on that line in Mike McGlinchey. Texans sign Case Keenum. I mentioned that 2 years, $6.2 million. He'll probably be their backup. They're gonna draft somebody the number 2 pick. It looks like. The Giants re-signed Sterling Shepard on a veteran minimum deal. I said in the past I think you should let him go, but for just over $1 million, I think that's a nice move for them. Brandon Graham re-signed to the Eagles, 1 year, $6 million. Nice move for the Eagles, getting him for only $6 million. He's still a really good player, even though he's a little older. Obviously, he's been there his entire career. Jason Kelce is not retiring, and he said he's going to return to the Eagles, so they should have him back. We got a bunch of salary cap cuts. You got Frank Clark. Chiefs cut Frank Clark. He's a good defensive end. He's available. Vikings cut Eric Kendricks, Pro Bowl linebacker. Rams cut Larry Floyd, who's a really good pass rusher. They may trade Allen Robinson, but that's going to be tough with the money, so we'll see what they can do with that. Byron Jones is going to be officially cut, going to be a post-June first cut that will be made official on Wednesday when the new league year starts. Titans got Ben Jones, who's a pretty good starting center. They save $3.7 million against the cap, but they do have a dead cap for the $4.7 million. Commanders cut corner William Jackson, who's not very good anyway. They saved $2.2 million with that deal. Devin McCourty announced his retirement for 12 years with the Patriots. He won 3 Super Bowls. He had a very nice career. Was a really good guy. Dolphins picked up Tua's option. 2024, so interesting move there. Yeah, so he'll be due $23.2 million in 2024. So I assume they are not going to go after Lamar Jackson or anybody, as there were rumors. By the way, Aaron Rodgers suggests there was rumors it was completed. It is not done yet, so hopefully that gets done soon, because I'm definitely, I want them to get Rodgers, and I'm just tired of this saga. It's annoying if Rodgers get it done. They cut Braxton Berrios to save $5 million in cap space, and they sent a 7th-round pick to the Ravens in 2024 for Chuck Clark. I like that move. He's a pretty good starting safety. Jets also re-signed Quincy Williams, 3 years, $18 million, up to $21 million. Very good linebacker. They kind of stole off the waiver wire 2 years ago. And then you got the Texans signed Robert Woods, 2 years, $15.5 million. They had him to boost their receiving core. And also, Austin Eckler just requested a trade from the Chargers. They were trying to give him a contract extension going into last year of his deal. One of the league's best running backs. Those talks stalled, so Eckler has asked out of Los Angeles. And that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Justin, for your help. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.